Good morning. Today, I'm here to light a fire inside of you. Not just any fire, a fire so strong, so fierce that it burns through every excuse, every setback, and every obstacle in your path. Because let me tell you something, the gap between where you are and where you want to be, that's where most people quit. But you're not most people. Let's talk about goals. Yeah, I know you've heard it before. Set goals, write them down, make a plan, but I'm not here to give you a checklist. I'm here to challenge the way you think about what's possible. Setting a goal isn't just about writing words on paper, it's about committing to a vision so deeply that it consumes you. Step one, know your why. Listen closely. If you don't know why you want something, you'll never find the strength to fight for it. Your why is your engine. It's the reason you get up early when everyone else is sleeping. It's the reason you keep pushing when life punches you in the face. So ask yourself right now, why do I want this? And don't give me some surface level answer like, I want to be successful. No, dig deeper, make it personal, make it raw, make it so real that it scares you. Step two, stop waiting for perfect. Some of you are sitting around waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect resources, the perfect circumstances. Let me break it to you, perfection is the enemy of progress. If you're waiting for the stars to align, you'll be waiting forever. Start where you are with what you have. Take that messy, imperfect first step, because every great achievement begins with an imperfect start.
Step 3 sacrifices the price.
Let me be real with you, achieving your goals is going to cost you. It's going to cost you time, sleep, comfort, maybe even relationships. But here's the thing, if it doesn't cost you, it's not worth having. Some of you are trying to reach big goals with small effort. That's not how it works. You've got to be willing to give up the good to get the great. Step 4, push through the pain. You will fail. You will doubt yourself. You will feel like giving up. And when that moment comes, and it will come, that's when you find out who you really are. Winners push through the pain. Losers let it stop them. Pain isn't a wall, it's a test. It's life asking, how bad do you really want this? Answer it with your actions, not your words.
Step 5, finish what you start.
Starting is easy, finishing, that's where champions are made. Anyone can get excited about a goal in the beginning. But when the excitement fades and it gets hard, really hard, that's when you dig deep. Don't you dare quit when it gets tough. Don't you dare stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done. Final thought. Listen, you've got one life, one shot, no do-overs, and every day you wake up, you've got a choice to make. Are you going to keep playing small, or are you going to step into your greatness? Are you going to let excuses and fear dictate your life, or are you going to learn to rise above? Set your goal. Commit to it like your life depends on it. Then chase it with everything you've got. Because you were made for more than average. You were made for greatness. Now go get it. The world is waiting for you to show up. Your why is the foundation of everything you do. It's the fuel that keeps you going when the road gets rough and the days feel long. It's the answer to the question that whispers in your mind when you're on the verge of quitting. Why did I start this in the first place? Without a strong and meaningful why, every goal you set is just a wish. It lacks the weight, the depth, the emotional power that turns dreams into reality. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you truly sat down with yourself, no distractions, no noise, and asked, why am I doing this? Not the surface level reason, not the reason you think other people want to hear, but the real, raw, unfiltered truth. Because if your why doesn't make your chest tighten, if it doesn't bring tears to your eyes or make your heart race, it's not big enough. Your why should move you. It should make you uncomfortable in the best way possible. It should remind you every single day why quitting is not an option. Think about the people you admire most, the athletes, the entrepreneurs, the leaders. They all have something in common. They are crystal clear on their why. It's what drives them to show up at 4 a.m. for practice. It's what keeps them working when others have gone to bed. It's the reason they don't fold under pressure. Their why is so deeply ingrained in them that failure isn't just unlikely, it's unacceptable. They aren't driven by motivation alone because motivation fades. Motivation is like a match. It burns brightly for a moment, but it can't sustain a fire. Your why is the wood, the fuel that keeps that fire burning no matter how strong the wind blows. When you define your why, you tap into a level of strength you didn't know you had. Because when you have a purpose, setbacks don't feel like the end. They feel like a part of the process. When you have a purpose, hard work doesn't feel like a burden, it feels like a privilege. Your why gives meaning to every late night, every early morning, every sacrifice you make along the way. It turns every struggle into a step forward. For some people, their why is their family. Maybe they want to give their kids a better life than they had. Maybe they want to make their parents proud. For others, their why is about proving something to themselves to show that they are capable of achieving greatness, that they can overcome the odds stacked against them. And for some, their why is about leaving a legacy. They want to create something that outlives them, something that impacts the world in a way that matters. Whatever your why is, it has to be personal. It can't come from anyone else. It has to come from the deepest part of you, the part that refuses to settle for less. The truth is, most people don't fail because they lack talent or resources. They fail because they lack clarity. They don't know why they're chasing their goals. So when things get tough, they give up. Without a strong why, the grind feels pointless, but with a clear purpose, the grind transforms into something meaningful. Every step, no matter how small, becomes a victory. Every challenge becomes a chance to prove your commitment. Let me tell you something, your why doesn't have to make sense to anyone else. It doesn't have to be something the world understands. It only has to make sense to you. It only has to resonate with you on a level so deep that it keeps you moving forward no matter what. If your why is to create financial freedom, let that fuel you. If your why is to break generational curses that drive you. If your why is to be the first in your family to achieve something great, let that be your anchor. But here's the catch, knowing your why is just the first step. It's not enough to say, this is what I want. And this is why I wanted you have to remind yourself of your why every single day. You have to keep it front and center, especially when the road gets hard. Write it down. Put it on your mirror. Set it as your phone background. Do whatever it takes to keep it fresh in your mind, because the world will try to distract you. Life will throw challenges at you that make you question everything. And in those moments, your why is what will keep you grounded. Your why is your anchor, but it's also your compass. It's what guides your decisions and shapes your priorities. When you're clear on your why, you stop wasting time on things that don't align with your purpose. You stop saying yes to things that don't serve your vision. You start living with intention. Every decision becomes a step closer to your goal because you're not just moving, you're moving with direction. If you're feeling stuck, if you're struggling to find the motivation to keep going, it's time to revisit your why. Maybe you've lost sight of it. Maybe it's changed, and that's okay. Your why can evolve as you grow, as your circumstances change, as you discover new parts of yourself. What matters is that you stay connected to it. Because when you lose your connection to your why, you lose your sense of purpose. And when you lose your sense of purpose, you lose your drive. Here's the bottom line, your why is the difference between giving up and going all in. It's the difference between saying, I can't do this, and saying, I can't do this, and saying, I have to do this. It's the difference between being average and being unstoppable. So what's your why? What's the reason you refuse to settle? What's the reason you're willing to work harder than you've ever worked before? Find it, own it, and let it guide you every step of the way. Action is the bridge between your dreams and your reality. Too many people get stuck in the trap of waiting for the right time, the perfect moment, or the ideal set of circumstances. They sit on their ideas, thinking that someday, somehow, everything will fall into place and they'll finally feel ready to take the first step. But here's the truth, there is no perfect time, the stars won't align, and the universe isn't going to send you a flashing neon sign saying, now is the moment, you've got to start now. with what you have, where you are. Even if it feels messy and uncertain, waiting for perfection is just another way of procrastinating, another way of avoiding the fear of failure. Starting now doesn't mean you'll have all the answers. It doesn't mean you won't make mistakes or face setbacks. But action, even imperfect action, creates momentum. It's in that momentum that you'll find clarity, learn lessons, and uncover opportunities you never would have seen if you'd stayed in a state of inaction. The truth is, you'll never feel fully ready. There will always be doubts, always be questions, always be uncertainties. But readiness isn't about having all the answers, it's about having the courage to move forward in spite of them. When you take that first step, no matter how small, you set a chain of events into motion. That first step creates a ripple effect. It builds confidence, and confidence builds progress. Every great achievement you've ever seen, every success story you've ever heard started with someone who dared to take an imperfect first step. They didn't wait until the conditions were ideal or until they had all the resources. They started where they were with what they had, and they figured out the rest along the way. Think about how many dreams have died because people were too afraid to start. They talked themselves out of it. They said, I'll wait until I have more time, or I'll start when I have more money, or I'll try when I feel more confident. But time passed and they never started. The fear of imperfection kept them frozen. They were so focused on what they lacked that they couldn't see what they already had. They let fear dictate their actions, or rather their inactions, and they let their dreams slip away. The reality is, the act of starting is what gives you the tools, the knowledge, and the resources you think you need to begin. You can't learn to swim by reading about it or watching videos. You have to get in the water. You have to feel the resistance, the weight, the rhythm. You have to flail a bit, maybe even struggle, but that's how you learn. That's how you grow. The same is true for anything worth achieving. You won't have all the skills, all the answers, or all the resources at the beginning. But by starting, you put yourself in the game. You open the door to growth. You allow yourself to figure it out as you go. Starting now also requires you to let go of the fear of failure. Understand this: failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of the journey to success. Every misstep, every mistake, every stumble is a lesson. It's an opportunity to adjust your approach, to refine your strategy, to become better. But you'll never experience those lessons if you never start. You'll never have the chance to grow if you're too afraid to take that first step. Success isn't about getting it right the first time, it's about having the resilience to keep moving forward, to keep trying, to keep learning. You don't have to see the whole staircase to take the first step. That's one of the biggest misconceptions people have. They think they need to know every detail, every step of the plan before they can begin. But the truth is, the path will reveal itself as you go. You'll figure out the next step after you take the first one, and then the next, and then the next. Action creates clarity. It's in the doing that you discover what works, what doesn't, and what you need to adjust. But if you never take that first step, you'll stay stuck in analysis paralysis, spinning your wheels but going nowhere. When you start now, you also give yourself permission to be a beginner. And being a beginner is a powerful thing. Beginners aren't weighed down by the pressure to be perfect. They're free to experiment, to try new things, to make mistakes without the fear of judgment. Embrace the beginner's mindset. Allow yourself to be messy, to be imperfect, to not have it all figured out. Because the truth is, even the experts were beginners once. Even the people you look up to started somewhere. They didn't wake up one day at the top of their game. They climbed their way there, one step at a time. Starting now also means taking responsibility for your dreams. No one is going to hand you success. No one is going to do the work for you. It's up to you to take control, to take ownership, to take action. Stop waiting for someone to give you permission. Stop waiting for the perfect circumstances. Stop waiting for a sign. The only sign you need is the one you create for yourself. When you create for your side, enough is enough. I'm starting now. When you start now, You send a message to yourself and to the world that you're serious. You're not just talking about your dreams, you're doing something about them. You're taking that first step, no matter how small, and you're committing to the process. And that commitment, that willingness to act, is what separates those who achieve their goals from those who don't. It's not about talent, luck, or even timing, it's about action. The power of starting now lies in its simplicity. You don't have to overthink it. You don't have to wait for all the stars to align. You just have to take the first step. It might be sending an email, making a phone call, signing up for a class, or even just writing down your ideas. Whatever it is, do it today, not tomorrow, not next week, today. Because the longer you wait, the harder it becomes. The longer you delay, the more doubt creeps in. But when you act, when you start, you silence those doubts. You prove to yourself that you're capable, that you're ready, that you're willing to do what it takes. The hardest part is always the beginning. But once you take that first step, you'll find that the momentum starts to build. One step leads to another, and before you know it, you're on your way. But none of that can happen if you don't start. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to be done. Because progress, no matter how small, is still progress. Every step forward, no matter how imperfect, brings you closer to your goal. But you have to take that first step. You have to start now. Sacrifice is the currency of success. If you want something you've never had, you have to be willing to give up things you've always clung to. The truth is, every dream comes with a price tag. That price isn't measured in money, it's measured in time, energy, effort, and most importantly, what you're willing to leave behind to move forward. Sacrifice is what separates those who achieve their goals from those who only talk about them. It's the line in the sand between wishing for something and working for it. When you set a big goal, you're signing up for a process that will test your resolve. You'll be forced to make choices about how you spend your time, who you surround yourself with, and what you prioritize. The world is full of distractions, and every one of them is competing for your attention. Sacrifice is about saying no to the things that don't align with your vision, even when they're tempting, even when they're comfortable, even when they're fun. It's about delaying gratification in the short term so you can achieve something greater in the long term. Think about the people you admire, the ones who have achieved extraordinary things. They didn't get there by accident. They didn't get there by doing what everyone else was doing. They got there because they made sacrifices. They gave up their weekends to put in extra hours. They skipped parties to study or train. They turned down opportunities that didn't align with their goals. They sacrificed their comfort for their calling. And while other people were living for the moment, they were investing in their future. The idea of sacrifice isn't easy to accept because it requires discipline. It requires you to make decisions that might feel uncomfortable, inconvenient, or even painful in the moment. But that discomfort is temporary. The rewards of sacrifice, on the other hand, are lasting. The late nights, the early mornings, the missed events, they're all stepping stones on the path to your dreams. Every time you choose to sacrifice, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. You're telling the universe, I'm serious about this, I'm willing to pay the price. But here's the thing about sacrifice, it's not just about giving something up, it's about trading something lesser for something greater. It's about recognizing that the things you're letting go of are holding you back from the life you want to create. Sacrifice is an act of self-respect. It's about valuing your goals, your vision, and your potential enough to prioritize them above temporary pleasures. It's about showing yourself that you're worth the effort, worth the discipline, worth the investment. People often talk about balance, about finding ways to have it all. But the truth is, when you're chasing a big goal, balance isn't always possible. There will be times when you have to go all in, when you have to go every ounce of energy into your dream. Sacrifice doesn't mean you'll never have fun or enjoy life again, but it does mean that for a season you might have to say no to things that don't serve your purpose. It means accepting that you can't do everything, but you can do what matters most. The hardest sacrifices are often the ones that involve people. You might have to distance yourself from friends who don't support your goals, who don't understand your vision, or who distract you from your purpose. That doesn't mean you stop caring about them, but it does mean you set boundaries. You surround yourself with people who lift you up, who challenge you to be better, who believe in your potential. Because the truth is, you become the sum of the people you spend the most time with. If you want to achieve greatness, you need to be around others who are striving for it too. Sacrifice also means giving up the need for constant validation. When you're working towards something big, you might not see immediate results. You might not get applause or recognition right away. And that's okay. Sacrifice is about being willing to work in the dark, to grind when no one is watching, to keep pushing even when it feels like no one cares. It's about having the confidence to know that the work you're doing now will pay off later, even if it doesn't feel that way in the moment. Sometimes sacrifice looks like giving up bad habits. It means breaking free from the routines and patterns that are holding you back. Maybe it's spending less time on social media, cutting back on Netflix, or saying no to things that drain your energy. It's about creating space for the habits and practices that will move you closer to your goals. Sacrifice is about replacing what's easy with what's essential. It's about choosing growth over comfort, progress over stagnation. Other times, sacrifice is about time. Time is your most valuable resource, and how you spend it reflects your priorities. If you're serious about achieving your goals, you have to be intentional with your time. That might mean waking up earlier, staying up later, or using your breaks more productively. It might mean cutting out activities that don't align with your vision, even if they're enjoyable. Time is the one thing you can never get back, and every moment you spend is a moment you're investing or wasting. Sacrifice is about making sure your time is spent in ways that support your goals, not detract from them. Sacrifice requires you to be honest with yourself. It forces you to look at your habits, your routines, and your choices and ask, are these helping me or hurting me? It's not always an easy question to answer because it might reveal uncomfortable truths. But that honesty is necessary if you want to grow. Sacrifice is about taking responsibility for your life, for your choices, for your future. It's about acknowledging that you have the power to shape your destiny, but only if you're willing to do what it takes. It's important to understand that sacrifice is temporary. The things you give up now are not gone forever. They're simply put on hold while you focus on what matters most. And when you achieve your goal, when you reach the level you've been working toward, you'll realize that the sacrifices were worth it. The things you thought you couldn't live without will seem small in comparison to what you've gained. The time, the energy, the effort, it will all feel like a small price to pay for the life you've built. Sacrifice isn't about deprivation, it's about elevation. It's about letting go of the things that are keeping you stuck so you can rise to the level you're capable of. It's about saying, I'm willing to give this up because I know what I'm working toward is worth so much more. It's about having the discipline to choose what you want most over what you want right now. Sacrifice is the proof of your commitment, the evidence that you're serious about your goals. It's the price you pay for greatness, and it's a price worth paying every single time. Pain is inevitable on the journey to achieving anything worthwhile. It's not a question of if you will face challenges, but when. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't the absence of pain, it's how they respond to it. Pain is a test, a trial, a measure of how badly you want what you're chasing. It doesn't discriminate, it comes for everyone. What separates the winners from the quitters is their ability to push through it, to endure it, to let it mold them into something stronger, sharper, and more resilient. Pain has a way of exposing the truth. It strips away excuses, lays bare your priorities, and forces you to confront who you really are. It doesn't care about your comfort zone, your feelings, or your doubts. It only cares about whether you're willing to face it head on and keep moving. Most people run from pain. They avoid it, numb it, deny it, or distract themselves from it. But here's the hard truth: running from pain only makes it last longer. The longer you avoid it, the more it controls you. The only way to overcome pain is to go through it. When you push through pain, you discover something incredible about yourself. You realize that you're stronger than you thought, braver than you imagined, and more capable than you believed. Pain has a way of revealing your potential, but only if you let it. It forces you to dig deeper, to find strength you didn't know you had. It shows you what you're made of, what you're willing to fight for, and how much you're willing to endure to achieve your dreams. Pain isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. It's there to show you what you're capable of when you refuse to give up. People often think that pain is a sign to stop, to turn back, to give up. But pain is rarely a stop sign, it's a signal that you're growing. Growth is uncomfortable by nature. It requires you to stretch, to adapt, to break through limits you set for yourself. Pain is the price of growth. It's the cost of becoming better, stronger, and more resilient. If you want to achieve something extraordinary, you have to be willing to embrace the discomfort that comes with it. You have to be willing to endure the pain, knowing that it's shaping you into the person you need to become to reach your goals. Pain isn't just physical, it's mental, emotional, and spiritual. It's the self-doubt that creeps in late at night, the fear of failure that gnaws at your confidence, the loneliness that comes from walking a path few people understand. It's the sacrifices you make, the risks you take, the moments when you wonder if it's all worth it. But pain isn't permanent. It's temporary, fleeting, and manageable if you choose to face it. The moment you decide to push through it, to let it fuel you instead of stop you, you take control. You take power away from the pain and use it to propel yourself forward. Think about every time you faced pain in the past. You survived. You came out the other side stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Pain didn't break you, it built you. It taught you lessons you couldn't have learned any other way. It prepared you for challenges you didn't even know were coming. Every setback, every failure, every heartbreak was a stepping stone to where you are now. And if you're still standing, still fighting, still chasing your dreams, then the pain didn't win. You did. Pushing through pain requires perspective. You have to remind yourself why you started, what you're working toward, and what's at stake if you give up. You have to focus on the bigger picture, the end goal, the vision that keeps you moving forward. Pain is temporary, but quitting lasts forever. If you let pain dictate your actions, you'll never know what you're truly capable of. But if you choose to push through it, to see it as part of the process, you'll come out on the other side with a sense of accomplishment that's unmatched. Pain also teaches you discipline. It forces you to show up even when you don't feel like it, to put in the work, even when it's hard, to stay committed even when it's uncomfortable. Discipline is what keeps you going when motivation fades, and pain is what sharpens that discipline. It's what separates the committed from the casual, the driven from the distracted. Pain doesn't just test your limits, it expands them. It shows you that you can endure more than you thought, work harder than you believed, and keep going when others would have stopped. There will be moments when the pain feels overwhelming, when it feels like too much to handle. Those are the moments that define you. Those are the moments when you have to dig deep, find your inner strength, and remind yourself that you've come too far to quit now. Pain is temporary, but the lessons it teaches and the strength it builds are permanent. Every time you push through pain, you're not just moving closer to your goal. You're becoming the kind of person who can achieve it. The people who achieve great things aren't the ones who avoid pain, they're the ones who embrace it. They don't see pain as a barrier, they see it as a stepping stone. They understand that every struggle, every setback, every challenge is an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to improve. They don't let pain stop them, they let it fuel them. They use it as a reminder of how much they want what they're chasing, how hard they're willing to work for it, and how committed they are to seeing it through. Pain has a way of revealing the truth about your goals. If you're not willing to endure discomfort for something, it might not be as important to you as you think. But if you're willing to push through the pain, to sacrifice your comfort, to face your fears, then you know you're on the right path. Pain isn't a punishment, it's a privilege. It's a sign that you're doing something that matters, something that's worth the effort, something that will change your life. Pushing through pain doesn't mean ignoring it or pretending it doesn't exist. It means acknowledging it, facing it, and using it as a tool for growth. It means understanding that pain is part of the process, not a reason to quit. It means being willing to endure temporary discomfort for the sake of long-term success. Pain isn't there to stop you, it's there to prepare you. It's there to show you what you're capable of, to test your commitment, to sharpen your focus. Pain will challenge you, but it will also change you. It will make you stronger, tougher, and more determined. It will teach you resilience, perseverance, and grit. It will show you that you're capable of more than you ever imagined. But you have to be willing to push through it, to embrace it, to let it shape you. Pain isn't the end of the story, it's the beginning of your transformation. It's the fuel that will take you to places you've only dreamed of. The fire that will forge you into the person you were meant to be. Self-belief is the cornerstone of every achievement. It is the force that drives action, the foundation upon which goals are built, and the armor that protects you from doubt and fear. Without it, even the best plans crumble under pressure. Belief in yourself is not something you stumble upon, it is something you cultivate, nurture, and defend. It starts with a decision, a choice to trust in your ability to succeed, even when the odds seem stacked against you. It's a commitment to silence the inner critic and replace it with a voice that says, I can, and I will. Every dream begins in the mind, and it is belief that transforms a thought into a tangible goal. It's belief that allows you to see possibilities where others see barriers. It's belief that gives you the courage to take the first step, even when the path is unclear. Many people fail not because they lack the talent, resources, or opportunities, but because they lack belief in themselves. They allow doubt to creep in, and doubt is the thief of potential. The moment you stop believing in yourself, you stop trying. And the moment you stop trying, you fail. Self-belief doesn't mean ignoring challenges or pretending that obstacles don't exist. It means acknowledging the difficulties ahead, but choosing to move forward anyway. It's not about being blind to your limitations, it's about refusing to let those limitations define you. Self-belief is the quiet confidence that no matter what comes your way, you will find a way to overcome it. It's the understanding that your value isn't determined by what you've done, but by what you're capable of doing. It's about seeing yourself as a work in progress, not a finished product. Belief in yourself is not something that can be handed to you. It doesn't come from external validation or approval. It comes from within, from the understanding that you are enough, that you have what it takes, and that you are worthy of success. Waiting for someone else to believe in you is a losing game. People may doubt you, question you, or even discourage you, but their opinions are irrelevant if you have unshakable belief in yourself. When you trust your abilities, you'll need others to validate your worth. Their doubts won't shake you because your confidence isn't rooted in them, it's rooted in you. Self-belief requires action. It's not enough to tell yourself that you can achieve something, you have to prove it to yourself. You have to take steps, however small. That moves you closer to your goal. Each step reinforces your belief. Each success strengthens your confidence, and each lesson from failure builds your resilience. Confidence is earned, not given, and the way you earn it is by showing up, putting in the work, and refusing to quit. The more you act in alignment with your goals, the more your belief in yourself grows. Failures and setbacks are part of the journey, but they don't define your potential. What matters is how you respond to them. Self-belief means seeing failures not as evidence of your limits, but as opportunities to learn and grow. It's about understanding that every great achievement is built on a foundation of mistakes and missteps. The most successful people in the world didn't get there because they never failed. They got there because they believed in themselves enough to keep going after every failure. They used their setbacks as stepping stones, not stumbling blocks. Comparison is the enemy of self-belief. When you measure yourself against others, you rob yourself of the confidence to focus on your own path. Everyone's journey is different, and what works for someone else may not work for you. Self-belief requires you to stay in your lane, to focus on your progress, and to trust that your journey is unfolding exactly as it should. It's about celebrating your own milestones, no matter how small, and recognizing that you're moving forward, even if it's at a different pace than others. The mind is a powerful tool, and what you tell yourself matters. If you constantly feed your mind with negativity, doubt, and fear, that's what will grow. But if you choose to feed it with positivity, confidence, and belief, you'll create an environment where self-belief can thrive. Affirmations, visualization, and self-talk are not just buzzwords, they're tools that can help you cultivate the mindset you need to succeed. When you repeatedly tell yourself that you are capable, that you are strong, and that you are deserving, you begin to believe it. And when you believe it, you act on it. Surrounding yourself with the right people is crucial for maintaining self-belief. The company you keep has a direct impact on how you see yourself. If you're surrounded by people who doubt you, criticize you, or hold you back, it's harder to believe in yourself. But when you're around people who encourage you, support you, and believe in your potential, their positivity reinforces your own confidence. Self-belief is contagious, and being in an environment that fosters it can make all the difference. Seek out mentors, friends, and peers who inspire you, challenge you, and remind you of your worth. Belief in yourself also means being willing to take risks. It means stepping out of your comfort zone and doing things that scare you. Growth and comfort cannot coexist, and self-belief is what gives you the courage to embrace the discomfort of growth. It's about trusting that even if you don't have all the answers, you'll figure them out along the way. It's about understanding that fear is a natural part of the process, but it doesn't have to control you. When you believe in yourself, you don't let fear dictate your actions, you use it as fuel to keep moving forward. Self-belief is not arrogance or overconfidence. It's not about thinking you're better than others. It's about knowing you're capable of achieving your goals. It's about respecting yourself enough to chase your dreams with everything you have. It's about recognizing your strengths, acknowledging your weaknesses, and committing to growth. Self-belief is grounded in humility and self-awareness. It's not about ignoring your flaws, it's about accepting them and working on them. It's about being honest with yourself while still believing in your ability to improve. There will be moments when your self-belief is tested, when doubt creeps in, and when the voice in your head tells you to quit. Those moments are inevitable, but they're also temporary. What matters is how you respond. Do you let doubt consume you, or do you fight back? Do you let fear paralyze you, or do you take action anyway? Self-belief isn't about never feeling doubt or fear, it's about refusing to let those feelings control you. It's about standing firm in the face of adversity and reminding yourself of your worth. Building self-belief is a lifelong process. It's not something you achieve once and never think about again. It requires constant effort, reflection, and reinforcement. It requires you to show up for yourself every single day, to make choices that align with your goals, and to prioritize your growth. Self-belief is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The more you challenge yourself, the more confidence you build. The more you trust yourself, the more capable you become. It's a cycle that feeds itself, but it starts with a choice.